What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, make sure you smash that subscribe button because we cover New York Rangers news every single day, and right now, things are absolutely cooking in Rangerstown. I mean, the offseason has been nothing short of a roller coaster ride, and honestly, I don't think anyone expected things to get this wild this fast. So buckle up, grab your coffee, sit back, because we have a lot to get into today, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single word of this. Let's start with the biggest story that has had the entire Rangers fanbase buzzing for the past few weeks. The blockbuster trade that nobody saw coming. In a stunning draft night move that completely stole the show at the 2026 NHL Draft in Buffalo, the New York Rangers acquired elite goal scorer Pavel Dorofeyev from the Vegas Golden Knights. And look, I know what some of you were thinking in the days leading up to the draft. Where are the Rangers? Why are they being so quiet while every other team is making moves? Well, Chris Drury was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers because this came completely out of nowhere, and it is a massive, massive deal. The Rangers shipped their second of 2 first-round picks at number 26 overall, along with a third-round selection at 92nd overall, and a conditional first-round pick in 2028. In return, they landed a 25-year-old elite goal scorer who is just entering the prime of his career. Now let's talk about what the Rangers are actually getting here, because I don't think people fully appreciate how good this guy is. Dorofeyev appeared in all 82 games for Vegas this past season, establishing career highs of 37 goals and 27 assists for 64 total points, with 20 power play goals that ranked second in the entire NHL. 20 power play goals. Do you know how insane that is? And then when the playoffs rolled around, he skated in 22 postseason games with Vegas in their run to the Stanley Cup Final, recording 12 goals and 4 assists for 16 points. This is a guy who does not shrink on the biggest stage. He elevates. He goes from a scoring machine in the regular season to an absolute monster in the playoffs. And that is exactly the type of player the New York Rangers have been desperately missing. And speaking of what the Rangers were missing, let's be real with each other for a second. The Rangers finished 23rd in goals per game this season at just 2.87, and they were shut out a league worst 10 times last season. That is embarrassing for a franchise that plays in Madison Square Garden and has the expectations that come with being a Ranger. They couldn't score. They couldn't stay out of the penalty box long enough to win games. And after Artemi Panarin was moved to the Los Angeles Kings before the trade deadline, the offensive firepower was basically non-existent. So when Chris Drury walks out of draft night with Pavel Dorofeyev signed to a 7-year extension worth $77 million, you have to give credit where credit is due. He identified the problem, went out and fixed it, and he got his guy. Now let's talk about what this means for the roster going forward, because this is where it gets really, really interesting. The Rangers reportedly were finalists to acquire center Mason McTavish from the Anaheim Ducks as late as Friday afternoon before pivoting to the Dorofeyev deal instead. And honestly, looking back at it now, the Rangers dodged a bullet because the Ducks ended up trading McTavish to St. Louis for 2 first-round picks. The Rangers kept their assets in the right places and came out with arguably the better player in Dorofeyev. Sometimes the deal you don't make is just as important as the one you do. Now here's where I want to spend a little time, because this is something the fan base is going to be talking about for a while. What does this mean for Alexis Lafreniere? By locking down Dorofeyev long-term, Chris Drury secured a premier top-6 sniper, which gives the front office the ultimate flexibility to potentially weaponize Lafreniere in a blockbuster trade for other roster needs. Let me say that again, they could potentially use Lafreniere as trade bait. Now, I'm not saying that is definitely happening, but the writing is on the wall here. By trading for Dorofeyev, the Rangers brass is already bracing for Lafreniere not to step up to the plate in 2026 to 27. With up-and-comers like Liam Greentree and Nathan Aspinall pushing up the pipeline, Lafreniere has to show out next season, or he should get U-Haul on speed dial. This is Lafreniere's make-or-break year, full stop. If he comes back with the same inconsistency we've seen in recent seasons, do not be shocked if his name starts popping up in trade rumors before the deadline. The Rangers are not a development program anymore. They are trying to win. Let's shift gears to some other moves that have been quietly reshaping this roster. The Rangers also made a notable move trading center Adam Edstrom to the Nashville Predators in exchange for prospect Massimo Rizzo and the 148th draft pick. It's a minor move on the surface, but it tells you something about the direction Chris Drury is steering this ship. He is constantly looking to replenish the prospect pool while also clearing the roster for the right players at the NHL level. And then there's the Braden Schneider situation, which has been lingering like a storm cloud over the offseason. The Rangers signed Braden Schneider to a one-year extension worth $5.5 million, locking up their defense heading into the new season. And this is a big but, just because he's signed doesn't mean he's safe. There is still possibility that the Rangers could dangle Schneider to teams like San Jose or Vancouver. One-year deals in the NHL often mean one of two things, either a bridge deal to a longer commitment, or a prove-it year before the team moves in a different direction. For Schneider, this is his chance to cement his place in the lineup. He's got the tools. He's got the skating ability. Now he's got to put it all together under a coaching staff that has very high expectations going into 2026 to 27. Now let's talk about the future, because Rangers fans have been waiting a long time to feel good about the prospect pipeline, and there are some really exciting developments happening. The Rangers agreed to terms with defenseman Albert Smits on a 3-year entry-level contract. The 18-year-old appeared in 38 games for Jukurit in Liga and registered 13 points. Liga is no joke, people. That is one of the top professional leagues in Europe, and for an 18-year-old to be putting up points there is genuinely impressive. Smits is a name you are going to want to remember, because this kid could be a cornerstone of the Rangers' blue line for years to come. And speaking of prospects, the Athletics' annual ranking of the top 100 NHL prospects included 3 Rangers players, with 2 of them landing in the top 20. The pipeline is starting to fill up, and that matters because the Rangers can't go out and buy a championship every single year. They need homegrown talent, and it finally feels like that is beginning to take shape under this new direction. On the schedule front, the Rangers will open the 2026 to 27 season against the Boston Bruins on September 29th at TD Garden, with the game nationally broadcast on ESPN. A September opener. The first September regular season game in franchise history. That is a big deal, and it sets the tone for what should be a fascinating year. New coach Mike Sullivan, a completely revamped forward group, a defense that still features one of the best blue liners in the game in Adam Fox, and of course Igor Shesterkin in goal doing what Igor Shesterkin does. Listen, I'll be honest with you. The Rangers have missed the playoffs in consecutive seasons after winning the President's Trophy in 2023 to 24, and they still have a considerable way to go before they're a lock as a playoff team. But this offseason has energized the fan base in a way we haven't seen in a minute. The Dorofeyev trade alone changed the entire conversation. Suddenly this team has a legitimate top 6 winger who can score 37 goals, explode on the power play, and deliver in the playoffs. That is not nothing. That is something special. The Rangers made things very interesting this summer, and the chessboard is still being set. More moves could be coming. Lafreniere's future is uncertain. Schneider's spot isn't guaranteed. The prospect pipeline is heating up. And now this team opens the year in September under the national spotlight against a Bruins squad that will not make it easy. The window is not wide open yet, but it is cracking open. And if Chris Drury keeps playing the offseason the way he has been, Rangers fans might finally have something real to smile about. That's it for today's video. Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Rangers can make the playoffs this year? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Let's go Rangers!